So welcome back to the channel for another bike review here. Today we're going to be having a look at this. It's an e-clutch equipped 2024 model Honda CBR 650R. So the timings between the last two videos worked out really well. The last video we had a look at the CBR 500R, and today we're going to be having a look at its bigger brother. This is the CBR 650R. If you're in the market for a mid-capacity sports bike, there's a good chance either of these two bikes are on your radar. To the untrained eye, this bike might seem like a slightly bigger capacity than the CBR 500R, but that couldn't be further from the truth. They are two completely different bikes. The CBR 650R and its naked brother, the CB 650R, have been with us for almost 10 years now, and I've seen a few revisions over that time. The first was 2017 to make the bike Euro 4 compliant. We had another revision in 2019 that brought the Fireblade styling that this bike's got, and then the last edition was in 2021. Again, that was to meet Euro 5 regulations. This 2024 model remains mostly unchanged from the previous year. One of the most interesting features on this bike is actually an optional extra, and that's the electronic clutch, or e-clutch as Honda calls it. This is something brand new for the bike industry. It's not an automatic gearbox, nor is it a quick shifter. It's sort of somewhere in the middle really, and allows for riding without touching the clutch at all. That includes starting, stopping and up and down shifts through the gearbox. Honda have interestingly priced this optional extra at just £100 on top of the $8599 base price. You would think this brand new technology would be much more expensive, but no, apparently not. It's yours for an extra £100. I'm really looking forward to having a look at this system once we get the bike out on the road shortly. But first, let's have a look at what else the 650R brings to the table. The engine is the fantastic 649cc dual overhead cam inline 4. This is for the most part the same engine that's been present throughout the model history of the bike. A conversion kit is available to tone the bike down to be A2 compliant. Up front we have dual radial mounted calipers. They're sat on 3 10mm discs. Shower forks up front. We have a shower shock here at the back, and the rear brakes are covered by a fairly standard setup of a single piston caliper, and that's sat on a 240mm disc. Similar to the 500R, there's two colour schemes available for this bike. There's a matte gunpowder black and the tricolour red Grand Prix, like what we've got here. There's a few other improvements for the 2024 model. The rear subframe here has shed just over 400 grams. The wheels now come wrapped in Dunlop Road Sport 2s as standard, and the 650R is now sporting the stunning optically bonded TFT screen. I played around with the system a little bit on the 500R, and it's a really great setup, particularly the navigation. I really like that. Just before we get the bike out on the road and see what it's all about, as with the 500R, I just want to pass on a massive thank you to the North West Honda Supercentre for giving me the bike to review for the day. They are a very genuine group of enthusiasts who operate a very professional dealership. Do call in and have a brew and a drool over some bikes if you're in the area. Okay, so sitting on the bike, first impressions, very similar to the 500R that I reviewed recently in terms of seating position. It's a nice upright position, very comfortable. The biggest notable difference here is not needing to use this guy, the clutch. So we have a green light over here indicating that the e-clutch is activated, and the strangest sensation ever, no clutch, and we're going to click the bike into first and still no clutch. Back to neutral, first, neutral. A very strange sensation initially. Okay, so into first, no clutch, a blip on the throttle, and we're away. Again, no clutch needed here. I can go up through the box with one hand. It's a very strange sensation, more so here now. So coming up to some lights here, I'm currently in third. Again, one hand, I can go down to third, second, down to first, neutral, sorry, and pull up to a stop with no clutch needed at all. A very clever system. It doesn't work in the, well, it doesn't really work in the way that anything we've seen before on a bike. Obviously it's not an automatic gearbox, I'm still in full control of the gears, and it's not a quick shifter, though that's probably the closest comparison that you can put it to. So inside there's a box down here, I'm not sure if you can see that while I'm moving. There's a box down here by my right leg that has 2 motors and various gear assemblies which actuates the clutch. Now I'm not too sure the technical side of things of exactly how the system works. It's probably the easiest way to explain it, though it's not a quick shifter. All it's really doing is very quickly engaging the clutch and allowing the bike to change gear up or down, which does present some advantages over a traditional quick shifter. The CBR 650 is a cable operated throttle, so should the bike have a quick shifter installed, you wouldn't be able to use a quick shifter down, as there'd be no auto blip. Whereas with this system you can shift up or down, and again traditionally with a quick shifter, now as a perfect example, so we're here 20 miles an hour, 4th gear in fact, a quick shifter now would be incredibly jerky to go up or down gears, if it would even do it at all. Whereas now again 4th gear, 24 miles an hour, 5th, 6th, 5th. It's just very, very good, I guess is the word. It just works. It's yeah, really impressed actually. And what's really nice about this system is, for whatever reason, if you feel you could do a better job, or you specifically want to take control of the clutch for maybe tight maneuvers, or you want to try and get it on the back wheel, or whatever it is that you want to do, a quick pull of the lever and you'll see the green light's gone out there, and that means that the e-clutch is now disengaged, and as soon as you relax again the green light comes back on to signify that the e-clutch is active. Now you can disable the e-clutch completely in the bike's menus if you want to. I'm not sure what advantage really that would have, because again if you want to use the clutch you can just continue to use it and it instantly disengages anyway. So I can't really see a massive benefit of turning it off. I mean, even if you wanted to have a more spirited ride, I still think you could ride faster with the e-clutch system than what you could manually shifting gears yourself. I mean, again, the 4th gear now, and just it's a split second and you're into the next gear, there's no hesitation. I did notice a little bit earlier back there it does sort of lurch a little bit going down gears at lower RPMs, but again I think that's just a trait really, being the throttle cable. The ECU is limited to how much control it's got just to smooth everything out. I think if we had this system on a bike with a fly-by-wire throttle, it wouldn't have that issue. I know Honda are looking at implementing this system on other bikes. I don't think they've actually said what models as of yet that the system's going to be on. Obviously some of their range do have the DTC system. I don't think this will replace that, but I do think this can run alongside that system. And also it does offer some advantages as well for maybe there's a specific reason that you struggle riding a bike with a clutch, or traditional clutch should I say, whatever that might be. Maybe you've had you don't have good use of your left hand, or whatever the reason might be. This system opens up the door, the possibility for anybody to experience riding a sports bike really. And I think for that Honda should be praised. I'm just waiting to get going here a little bit. I've got a very bright direct sunlight behind me which is shining straight onto the optically bonded TFT screen here, and as with the 500R that I previously reviewed, the screen is fantastic. Again, direct sunlight right onto the screen, and there's no reflection, there's no glare. The TFT is still bright and clear. I have already connected my phone up to the Ride Sync or Honda Sync, Road Sync, whatever it is that they call it. Wasn't actually quite as straightforward as it was with the 500R. I think possibly I had an issue maybe with the phone, looking for the previous bike. Might have been there on my behalf. Anyway, once it connected up, no troubles at all. Works the exact same system as with the 500R, so you can program navigation on there if you so wish, which is fantastic. It eliminates the need for a third-party screen or to mount your phone somewhere on the bike. It's all displayed very easy here with this little section on the bottom corner of the screen. You can also use the system for calls, for music. So the call swing might be handy. I personally don't like listening to music on the bike. I like to be aware of what's going on around you and listen to the bike. But each to their own. I know a lot of people do listen to music on the bike, and it's nice to have that system to be able to control it, volume and play and pause and so on through the bike, rather than needing again to maybe touch something on the side of your helmet or touch your phone if it's mounted down here. So yeah, very, very good system. It's a lot of fun, that flipping up through the gears is a lot of fun with this bike. It's funny because it's flying up through the gearbox. You feel like you're going a lot quicker than what you actually are. It's definitely a lot of fun. And what's a nice system as well, let me pull over here quickly to show you what I mean. So I'm going to pull up to a stop here actually in 5th gear, and you'll see the bike's flashing at me now there to say you're in 5th gear, and the e-clutch is active. Obviously the bike's going to really struggle to set off in 5th gear, possibly might even stall. I'm not sure what would happen if you tried to set off. It gives it a go, but obviously it's no good for the bike, no good for the clutch. And you can just go down the gap box here again, completely still, no hand needed on the clutch. 4th, 3rd, 2nd, neutral, into 1st. As easy as that. What is a lot of fun as well is, again, not having a clutch. It's almost like having launch control. You can literally just wind it on whenever you're ready, and it just sets off. Get up to speed really, really quickly. I mean, if you're commuting, you want to filter through lights, you can just get to the front, and as soon as it goes on green, you just do a blip of the throttle and you're away. No messing about at all. So to move away from the e-clutch a little bit, talk about the bike itself. It's the 650cc inline 4 is a fantastic engine. It's grunty, it's revvy, gets up to speed really quickly, but yeah, it's easy to get on with as well. I mean, riding through town, getting out onto the A roads earlier, it was an absolute breeze, you know, it's just no trouble at all. It's nice and quiet in town as well, but it does give you, I'm not sure if the microphone will pick it up, it's a bit windy today, but it does give you quite a throaty grumble as you're working your way up through the rev range. I mean, as with most stock exhaust on most bikes, it's there's always room for improvement with an aftermarket system. Very nimble little bike as well. It's I think in terms of the way it handles, it reminds me a lot of the 600R. It's very, very light. Obviously it's not as much of an aggressive position as what the 600R was, but you can still throw this into corners, holds its position on the road very well. I think the best way to describe this bike is the 600RR, slightly more sensible brother. Just because it's a bit more sensible doesn't mean it's not capable. So lovely the way it just goes down through the box. Lovely. easy peasy. I think the only trouble is with this e-clutch system, I wouldn't say to teach you bad habits, that's not the right way to describe it, but you could very easily get used to it, which obviously might lead you forgetting yourself if you move on to a different bike. This really is Honda's do-it-all bike. You know, you could live in the middle of a city centre and commute through town on this bike with no trouble at all. Equally, if you want to get out on some big air roads and have a bit of fun, it can do that for you as well. So the inline 4 650cc, no messing around at all. Very quick to get up to speed. Nice linear power delivery right the way through the rev range as well. And again, first gear now. The bike's holding the clutch in for me. It's not good practice to do that, but just more to show that it can do it. Quick tap, you're into neutral. I'm not sure exactly how Honda have made such a clever algorithm, but they have done. And I think the fact that this is only priced at £100 on top of the base price for this bike, I mean, 100 quid, it just seems crazy. You'd think it'd be a much more expensive system. I think the optional quick shifter, I'm not sure if it was for the 650 or if it was the 600RR. Anyway, one of the bikes has a quick shifter as an optional extra, and I'm sure it's priced at like 300, 270, something like that. And again, being, as mentioned just before, being a cable operated throttle, the quick shifter, it's only going to be an up quick shifter, sorry, it's not going to be a down quick shifter. Whereas with the e-clutch system, a third of the price, and it is effectively a quick shifter both up and down. That's the only thing you're going to lose of a, as mentioned before, is the an auto blip function. Again, though, for day-to-day riding, city riding, even air-road riding, to be honest, I mean, an auto blip isn't the be-all or end-all. It's nice to have it, but so the thing I have noticed when you're coming up to a stop here, the e-clutch system, it's quite a big unit here that sits on top of the engine. You do kind of catch your knee on it a little bit as you're putting the bike down. I mean, it's not a problem, it just more catches your attention more than anything. That's not to say, I mean, it is a big box, it is a big unit that's on the side of the bike, but it's certainly not massive. I think given the job that it's doing and what technology is inside of it, it's quite incredible that they managed to compact it into such a small unit, to be honest. I'm sure the information about exactly how it works, I mean, if anyone's interested, I'll be very happy to put a video together explaining exactly how the system works. So again, a little example here with the launch control, clutch control, just very, very quick little bike. Alright, so I think I will find somewhere quiet down here to pull over, and I will put together a bit of a conclusion and my final thoughts after spending a day with this bike. Well, it's not every day you get to experience something brand new on a sports bike. I was really, really looking forward to playing with the e-clutch today. And it didn't disappoint. Around town is an absolute breeze once you disengage the muscle memory of actually reaching for the clutch when you come into a stop. I did find it a little bit lurchy at low RPMs, especially if you're doing something that requires a bit of control, like filtering, for example. Usually if I was filtering, I'd be feathering the clutch just to keep things smooth, whereas the e-clutch just seemed to be a little bit jerky. But of course you do still have the manual clutch lever, so it's really not a problem. For everything else, honestly, it is absolutely amazing. It just puts a smile on your face. And of course this bike isn't for those of us that simply can't be asked to use the clutch. Perhaps there's a medical reason that you're going to struggle to have the finesse of your left hand to use a clutch on a traditional bike. This system opens the door for anybody that might struggle in that regard. I'm reliably informed that Honda are looking to implement the e-clutch system onto other models in the range as we move forward into the future, so that's definitely something to keep an eye out for. The 650R has a cable controlled throttle. I'd be really, really interested to see the e-clutch system on a bike with a fly-by-wire throttle system to allow for auto blipping on downshifts. Leaving the e-clutch system for a minute, the whole bike is honestly an absolute pleasure to ride on the road. It looks great, it handles great, There's loads of power, and honestly it's just really, really easy to get on with. If you're planning on pulling the trigger on a 650R, there's a few optional extras you probably want to have a look at. Honda offer a racing kit that's going to give you a rear seat cowl, a oil level gauge, tank pads and a double bubble screen. They also offer a comfort pack, and that's going to come with heated grips, a tank bag and a rear seat mounted bag as well. So to conclude, leaving out this bike's direct competitors, bikes like the Yamaha R7, the Aprilia RS 660, if I was in the market for a middleweight Honda sports bike, would I pick this or would I pick the 500R? For me, it's an easy answer. I would spend a little bit more and I would get this, the 650R. As great as the 500R is, and it is a really great bike, I think you'd get a lot more longevity with this bike, especially if you come into it with an A2 license. So that concludes my review of this lovely CBR 650R. If you made it this far, please do leave a like down below and consider subscribing to the channel. It really is a massive, massive help. Once again, huge thank you to the guys at the North West Honda Supercentre. Thanks very much, take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.